Welcome to another episode of the APL show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. Incredible guests the world over with amazing insights, incredible travels, tons of experience and wisdom, and they're quite often giving service to others. Today, coming back to us is just one of my favorite guests. She's steeped in India tradition, but many other modalities as well. She's originally from the UK, living in the Bahamas, has experienced Shaktipat, if I've phrased it the correct way. But let's just put it this way. She's tight with India, tight with divine figures, tight with many passed over gurus, and I love to watch her in action. She's a spiritual teacher, author, show host, and more. Um, Julie Hoyle, welcome back to the show. Good to see you again.
Thanks so much, Michael. I love the intro. I think you covered it all, right?
And I can't emphasize enough, and I'm getting fried energetically right now. You really are hooked up in a fun way. You have a very good following. You're doing an amazing job. I still wouldn't be surprised if half the folks that I say that about don't end up expanding more in the years ahead. And that's where I want to lead in. Mankind, humanity has been doing a lot of the same stuff for a long time, a lot of thinking, a lot of harm, or at least not such positive moves towards other human beings, the planet, and so on. Is there something happening for all of us in 2025 that you're physically feeling, noticing more consciousness awareness come in? How do you describe this whole sea change, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way that I would describe it is that we can't pretend we don't know anymore. Because I think we all know what it feels like if we get an intuitive hit about something, whether it's something really small or something really big, and we don't act on it. Usually, what happens, I think, for most of us, when we don't listen to our intuitive guidance, we don't act on it, we don't do anything with it kind of becomes a depressed energy, I guess is the best way of putting it. We feel disappointed with ourselves. We feel like we've missed an opportunity and we just kind of get into a funk. And I think this is really true of everybody. Everybody that I've ever worked with or spoken to or shared with have said the same thing. And so, really, our big call to action is to listen more intently to what feels right for you and I, and to live accordingly, because we can't, you can't even take the first step towards, creating something even small if you don't trust what you're feeling inside yourself. And obviously that's true for you, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this work today. But I think that is the big one. So of course what's happening is, and we've already started to see this, more and more people are making choices about their working day, i.e., they don't want to work 9 to 5 anymore. They want to be more creative. They want to follow their dreams. They want to, be entrepreneurial about how to spend their time and to look at ways to do life differently. And of course, we're seeing that all throughout the world, especially with respect to your sort of 9 to 5 way of living and working.
Can we have an angel, an India figure, and maybe an off-world or we'll call it galactic loving figure each come in with a recap there? And if you want to keep going or you got a bigger gist, we can. But I'll put up Joy. By now, hopefully, people have met this angel named Joy. What does she say about the whole thing? Opportunity for man to do a little more love and kindness?
Yeah, well, what she's saying is essentially your joy is inherent, or joy is felt when you're doing things that make your heart sing, as opposed to, closing down your intuitive guidance, not listening, not acting on it, and, following the same old grooves. Because obviously, to create change, it can sometimes bring up fear, or anxiety of what if it doesn't work? What if I do this and people don't like it or whatever? Um, but really, if we don't live in accordance with our joy and with our what our heart is telling us, then it's no way to live.
And before we get to Anandamayi as the next figure, in daily living, as another guest, Paul Sugar, often says, is most of us are not in our bodies as much as we think. If we were in our hearts or our field or our bodies, we'd walk a smoother path. Can you quickly address that? Is there a mindfulness practice, just breathing, smiling? How can we check whether we're up and thinking or in the heart? I think that's a lot of us are in the rat race up here more than we realize.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the simplest practices that I was ever given was to hold my thumb and forefinger in Chin Mudra. It's so simple. Nobody knows you're doing it. You can be doing it when you're at work in a meeting or if you're feeling anxious or whatever. And it brings you back it really fully into the body because what happens is the energy circuits kind of close off and they go around the body in a clockwise direction and you're bringing everything in as opposed to kind of leaking energy out either through what you're thinking or paying attention to what's going on outside too much rather than seeing the world from the inside out. So that is a really simple way of doing it.
I love it. And very warm for some reason today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anandamaya Amayama, she has something to add.
Yeah, she's saying the same thing. It's really about connecting with the heart and seeing the world through the lens of the heart. And obviously including yourself, not leaving yourself out of that.
And again, to go completely off tangent, I'm going to do two lighters, two flames, but Ananda, Mayama, and Joy might just do something jointly, so it makes no difference that I was using one or two. I'll put two flames up. If you don't mind just saying ready, you'll get extra light to go beyond words, but for you, that extra experience will translate into words and we'll get you talking for just another few points. Are you ready?
Yes, ready.
Okay. And I did it in one click. Okay. Catch what you can catch. It might be a joint show.
Yeah.
And got it. What did you get?
To shine bright. And the only way you can really shine bright is when you, again, listen to your intuitive guidance and live true to it.
Lovely. And if you don't mind asking the universe to step in, you can just say abstractly who's stepping in, but you don't have to say who it is. Just say, got it. Could be a light being, a Pleiadian, Arcturian, Lyran, blah, blah, blah. Um, do you have your loving figure coming in?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And if you don't mind addressing just a little more about mankind right now, there's a lot of like drones, UFOs, lights, this, that. I don't think it's going away anytime soon because eventually thinking will exhaust itself. You're left with one conclusion. You're getting a big hello from the universe. And it's maybe time to slow down a little and appreciate everything you're talking about and so many other lovely people are talking about. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to share who was it and what did you get?
Yeah, so Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri came in, and I mean, he never really leaves. Is my what I would call my seed guru, and he just repeated the mantra that he's or the message he's well known for, which is the heart is the hub of all sacred places. Go there and roam. And of course, to live in the heart, to respond from the heart, to listen to your intuitive guidance in the heart is really all about also connecting with others and seeing others through this eye, the eye of the heart, in the most loving and kind way possible.
And this is jumping a little bit off the map, but if someone resonates, you've resonated with them and they wanted to reach out, they can get one-on-one instruction first for going full stop so they can be here and maybe to order get a little more flow going in their immediate life so they can be not combat ready, but peace and love ready for all the fun things that's coming ahead. People can reach out, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's Min, an angel who's very watery, soft-spoken professor, maybe Mother Hawaii. She's got a very interesting extra something.
Yes.
What'd you get?
She says, again, really pay attention, listen to what you're feeling inside, and particularly with respect to what's happening in the body. So if you have a headache, it's not just reaching for Advil, getting rid of it. There's this propensity, especially in the West, to try and get rid of things very quickly, rather than listening to and engaging with the wisdom of what the body is here to tell you. So if you have a headache, for example, inquire, what is the message behind the headache? What am I here to learn?
I love it. We have had fire alarms, of course, by code and law in the last three homes that we're in. But the first home used to have them go off when it was time to sage the home. It was saying, hey, I'm a little heavy. It wasn't a totally conscious home, although, pretty conscious. And it was just communicating it's time to throw the windows open and blow sage around. It's the way I do it. Today we had a little fire alarm beep, the one that's ripped down from up here. I've replaced the battery. I'm not putting it up anytime soon. But I have saged the house, and one of the family members came back from an airport and, of course, vacuumed up whatever wasn't supposed to come with. And so that is now gone from the house. So, can you talk to us about this whole paying attention more, being in the heart? How does one physically appreciate not being here and being here? Do you have a guaranteed way of, I know I'm in my heart right now, even just feeling the heart, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that, excuse me, is very, again, a very simple practice. I love the simplest practices, especially when you're busy. But one thing that I was told to do many years ago by a master yogi is to go if ever I felt anxious and I wanted to feel more kind of grounded in the body, is to go outside and to just look up at the sky and connect with the vastness and the limitless nature of the sky. Because and especially, being in nature and connecting in that way, it helps you while you're looking out and feeling expansive. It also helps you connect inside your body so that you're not, and essentially it's about coming out of the mind, coming into the heart, seeing through the lens of the heart and connecting with life itself. So it's a really simple thing to do. It doesn't cost anything and you can do it anytime you like.
I love it. You're in the Bahamas, so touching sand with your feet or the ocean or seeing a dolphin or at least connecting to dolphins or looking up and seeing a little bit of clouds and wind in your hair. Here's dolphin energy. Can you tie that all together somehow and take it out from there?
Yeah, I mean, water is so, as we know, so purifying. It's like being bathed in bliss, right? So, while we're showering in the morning, we can just imagine that the water's just throwing everything away that no longer has any kind of value for us. So we can use water in a really, purifying way. When we're drinking water, we can remember, say our prayers or repeat our mantras. Of course, I'm blessed because I can go stand in the ocean anytime I like, walk the beach anytime I like. But obviously, not everybody has that. So just having taking advantage of the water in your own home is a great thing to do.
And something about the water that I'm forgetting, and I'm just remembering now. Whoops, I think it was last summer. It was told to me you can set an intention into the water and then drink it. But here's three angels to back that up, plus your residential dolphin. And if you don't mind extrapolating on that a little, people are like, wait, what? Before I drink a glass of water, I mean, water's very conscious, very receptive. What would your suggestion be?
Yeah, well, there's a Japanese, I forget the guy's name now. He did a whole study on water molecules. Can you remember his name?
Yep. Masuro Emoto. I'm messing it up a little, but close.
Yeah, so he's really worth taking, doing some research on. I think he has videos on YouTube. But he was working with mantras and prayers over water, and and then he did some studies, and then he has these molecular kind of images, and it shows the patterns in the water. The sort of structure of the water changes, and is much more beautiful and kind of more expansive and light filled when there's been prayers said over the water. And the opposite is true, with negative energy, sending negative vibes and negative energy to the water. It has a different effect entirely. So it's really simple things like this that make a huge difference. It's like when we're feeding a plant, you feed a plant with some water and with some love, the plant will do really well. And we're no different. It's the same thing.
His book, Hidden Messages in Water, is beautiful. He has since passed over, but there's Vita Austin in New Zealand who's been a guest on the show, I think November of 2024. She's wonderful and definitely mixes science with full spirituality. She's been through a very famous car wreck in New Zealand that I think a lot of people had heard of. I think big equipment fell in the car. She was a survivor, maybe 26 operations. Even more details she shared in the show, and we're going to get to your experience in one second. So there's a parallel here. The second near-death experience she really doesn't talk about often, she shared being lost in the water for 3 hours. She drowned, but they found her on the rocks. Coast Guard said maybe she just passed out hanging onto the rocks for 3 hours. But she shared an experience underwater where maybe she met loving figures, and I'll just refer people to that show. But here she does the intentions in water, shows the consciousness of water. And so she's a modern day active touring Europe and England and always sold out. Very fun. So people can reference that show. You've had quite a few experiences, not necessarily drowning in the water, but more India working in an ashram. You've detailed that quite a bit on your previous appearances in the show. You're on a wonderful panel with Vasi Therese Rose Lopez, Hema Vyas, the psychologist in London with an Indian background. That was such a wonderful mind, body, spirit panel. Can you get back to your seed guru, wonderful figure, and maybe share it in a different way that if someone's watched your previous episodes that are very well attended, um, that there's something that you can bring forward to this conversation about more consciousness available in the now.
Yeah, so just for those that haven't heard the story, I won't obviously detail that, but for context, I was born and raised in the UK into a working class family. And my mother was an atheist. I always say an atheist on a bad day and an agnostic on a good day, and my dad was a Catholic. And there was no kind of spiritual orientation in my home growing up, even though I was sent to Catholic school, but I was always looking for somebody. I always knew that I was looking for somebody and I didn't know who it was. So then fast forward to 1989, and I had a lucid dream where you wake up in the dream and you realize this is a dream and I'm dreaming. And then I met who I call my seed guru, whose name is Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri. And I recognized he was the one I've been searching for my entire life. So all of that said, so he gave me Shaktipat, and really this whole kind of eruption of psychic phenomenon just blew up. I'd always kind of had psychic phenomenon happening around me since I was a kid, but it really, really was just like on full turbocharge after Shaktipat. So I'm kind of saying all of that to say, since that time, I've continued to have lucid dream meetings with Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri. And, I can feel his presence. I hear his messages. I can see him sometimes, but more often than anything, I'll have lucid dreams with him. And I had a lucid dream with him just before Christmas. I don't remember the exact date, but I woke up in a dream. He was standing in front of me of this really huge form, and he took my hand and he told me that um, the next several months going into 2025 were going to be very challenging worldwide. And he took my hand and he held my hand and he was walking with me through different towns and different countries. We were in different places. But nobody else could see him. I was the only one that could feel the power and the strength and the felt quality of his hand. And he said he would be there. So I won't go into all this sort of the personal aspects of that, but obviously what's happening globally, and especially with what's happening in LA, it just remembering that dream gives me tremendous strength, and it points again to the importance of connecting in with source, with a higher power, with your own intuitive guidance, or whatever touchstones you might have to help you deal with your day-to-day challenges. So that's just one, recent dream I had with him that I can share. But his presence is always here, and I receive guidance continually.
And if you don't mind, just closing your eyes for one more moment and breathing extra, allowing him to come in with one extra fresh message since we're here in 2025, what would that be?
I'm going to repeat something he's told me before, and that is, and this is true for anybody, when you feel like you need some guidance or some help or some insight or clarity, you can just take a hold of your own hand and hold your hands like this and imagine that either the left or the right hand is the hand of a great being, of a saint, a god, a guru, a teacher, or somebody that you really, really respect. And as you hold your hand, be open to receiving a message, and you will always receive something. You'll be guided. And again, that's a really simple practice to do, but it's unfailing.
I love it. And I love the simplicity you keep going back to. Okay, it's that time. I'll put up my fingers, show some light. You don't have to show yours, but see what you're going to see. But there's been an extra development in the second half of 2024. And that is you can ask for extra when you're done with me. Ask the universe, your seed guru, or others, a whole mishmash, to come in and do extra. You might get butterflies, you might get an India Sanskrit symbol. You might get whatever. People have gotten so much different stuff. You'll just get something wondrous and fun, but make sure you feel it up and down your back as a big thank you for being on the show. And here it goes, but you get one dad joke. Santa's reindeer, Blitzen and Dancer, just those two. Why do they drink so much coffee? Blitzen and Dancer? Because they're Santa's Starbucks. If you're laughing, you're letting go. See a little filament of light between my fingers. What color or colors do you see?
Pink.
Oh, Julie, you're wonderful. Okay, but ask Joy to kick it into gear. Ask everybody from India to kick it into gear and get extra, breathe extra, allow extra. What are you getting now?
I'm still getting pink and I'm also getting orange.
Okay. I didn't do it, although technically maybe I did, but I got a lot of help. Without knowing what's next, if you could just ask someone to come in, it could be an angel, a loving figure, Einstein, Rama, who knows, hear who
Mm-hmm.
it is, if you don't mind sharing who it is, and then they'll just deliver an extra goodie here.
Yes, Sai Baba of Shirdi.
Yay. And what's he have as a reminder for us all?
You know, again, he keeps coming back to the heart. Every single message so far in this show has been about connecting with the heart and listening. Yes, listening to the guidance of the heart and living from that space and acting from that space.
And if you want to catch an Indian temple incense that is extraordinary, as if you were there, but for the first time ever in 13 years, which temple is it?
I'm going back to the temple in Ganeshpuri,
Okay.
which I visited some years ago.
And are you physically smelling it?
Yes.
Yay. I had to do that just to check a box for the audience who's only have to close their eyes, put those fingers together and allow, allow, allow. Here's Ganesh or Ganesha. And what is the heart all about? Is it the doorway? Is it the connection to all?
Yeah, it's both. Everything.
And if you don't mind one at a time here, can you tell us what your experience is as you're getting closer, as you touch it, as you're really letting go?
It's it's inside and outside. It's not just the location of the physical heart. It's the energy center, but it's also connecting in with everything else.
And if Bermuda, not Bermuda, Bahamas were to speak, if you would allow for a message from the Bahamas to come in consciousness, I don't know how else to say it, so it's not coming out exactly right. What are you getting from the Bahamas as a reminder again for all of us to maybe slow our rolls?
Well, one spirit, one self is the big message.
Ooh,
It,
so explain that one.
it doesn't matter, you know, whether you're a Christian, a Buddhist, agnostic, atheist, whatever it is. You know, we all connect through kindness, through the heart, through the warmth of sharing and being gentle with one another. And again, it comes down to the simplest things.
I'll put my hand up in Texas. You're in the Bahamas. Use an adjective to describe what you're feeling. You may already start feeling my energy, so let me stick my hand up. But if you don't mind then receiving extra, either eyes open or eyes closed, it can be a symbol, Sanskrit, it could be music, it could be all the above or another new incense smell or just flowers. Or if you close your eyes, you can get a wreath of flowers. I don't know what it's called, a garland of something, necklace flowers put around you or given to you. Something's going to happen and someone's going to take credit for it. And you're going to hopefully share with us. What do you feel first on the palms?
I'm feeling the Om sign really. Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with that, right? And
Yes.
would think most viewers are too. The Om sign.
And can you ask Sri Shirdi Sai Baba and others to pick it up as if a little wind from India, the gentlest love on an Indian breeze coming in to kind of clear things out? If anyone feels a little under the weather, get tidied up. If anyone's spending too much energy on the yard or just talking too much, get your battery recharged. And I'll say yummy at this end, borrowing from Nicole Ashton, who says yummy all the time. Yay, shout out to her. Big fan of hers. Yummy. And that's very American here. Let's do it. What's the outcome here, though? What do you have coming out of this to share with us all? And I'm going to blow once through the microphone for extra India breeze on your nose. Was it more forest, mountain, temple? Who knows? What do you get, Julie? Come back to us.
I'm getting what I'm getting is again is more of the ocean breeze and the ocean space and the sense of connectedness and being kind to oneself as well as everybody else.
Oh, if you had 3 points, we're getting close to wrapping it up. It'll be a short one today. If you had 3 points to leave us with, how can a person kind of take stock or just stop with the narratives? We tell ourselves there's so many narratives, first of all, in the outside world, how you have to behave, think, and feel. And if there was about less thinking and really peeling all the varnish layers off the amazing wood that's underneath, whether it be the Brazilian wood or whatever I'm trying to say, talk to us about how do we even begin the process of moving that oil tanker? Eventually, we get to a speedboat or a surfboard.
Yeah, I mean, one of the simplest things, if you're talking about a simple practice, is being outside in nature and taking a walk, not taking your device with you, but just taking a walk and looking at the sky, looking at the trees, feeling the earth under your feet. That's really the best way to connect in with nature and to get out of the mind.
Okay. And I have an angel named Heather. If you didn't know how to proceed, you were afraid to contact you, but you did want to tell the universe, hey, I'm game, sign me up. I just don't know what I'm doing. And the universe will step in and sort it all out for you. Here's Heather the angel. Can you go through what that basic request is to the universe? What does it sound like to put yourself out there and make that request to the universe? She'll give you the verbatim stuff, or between the two of you, you'll sort it out.
Well, I think the first thing is admitting you don't know anything and then being open to receive,
And how many
right?
different times on your path did you have to go through that all over again to start anew and grow
Oh,
further?
all the time. It happens all the time. Oftentimes, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. You know, I'll get an intuitive nudge. For example, when I was given a nudge to write the book, the first book, I didn't know what I was doing. Or create a website. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just always trust that someone will show up to help. At least get me started. And I think with a lot of people, they feel like they have to have everything figured out before they or make it perfect. You know what I mean? Before they can take action. And of course, it's the opposite. Trusting the not knowing is really key.
And that's faith, whether it's religious or non-religious. It's not knowing while letting go and being here. I love that. Julie
Mhm.
Hoyle, holy cow. Okay, very last funky act on the show. Do you have an outside you can see from where you're sitting? If you just turned and looked, which figure or figures showed up to say hello?
Um, Mother Mary.
I love it. And she'll have a final closeout. She's getting you off the hook. She has a message through you to all of us. What does she say we got to keep in mind? And then that's it. We're signing off.
again, it's all about the heart. She's showing me the Sacred Heart and the importance of living from the heart and not being afraid of taking action to follow your dreams.
Julie Hoyle, you're rippling in love and energy for us all, and you're definitely holding the space. So I hope people check out your website, your books, your show, and appreciate what you do for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.